So this is my electric glide. I developed a knock in the motor, or a tick. I couldn't tell where it was coming from. I thought it was from the primary, but then I used one of these, cheap mechanic stethoscopes, and it seems pretty much like it's coming from the front rocker box. So the first thing I wanted to do was remove the engine stabilizer mount. I've had these eyelets go bad before and they make a lot of noise. I just wanted to remove that, start it up, and see if the noise went away. The noise is still there. So I think what I'm going to do is take off the tank, take off the top rocker box cover. Hopefully I don't have to remove the oil cooling lines, which are a real pain in the ass, but I might have to, so I can visually inspect that, get access to the push rods, and see. I mean, maybe I'm thinking it seems like it's ticking on startup, sometimes very bad, and then as it heats up it starts to go away. I'm thinking maybe it's a lifter is not pumping up, and then when it heats up it starts to tighten up the tolerances and it starts working a little bit. But I want to visually inspect the rockers, then the push rods, and then move from there. Okay, so now I have it opened up. The one thing I noticed is there seems to be a lot of end play on the rockers. I found a dimension somewhere that said it's not supposed to exceed 5 thousandths. These are 10 thousandths and over. I'm not sure if that's contributing to the noise, but I ordered some S&S roller rockers. I figure if I got it open, I might as well do everything at the same time. And if those rockers still have excessive end play, I think I can get shims. And so I got the push rods out, the lifters out. It's always a good idea to put your fingers in the boards, make sure there's no scoring or burrs or anything. All of these feel fine. The lifters themselves, I'm glad that there was nothing wrong with the lifters as far as all the roller bearings. The needle bearings are all in place. Nothing broke apart or anything. I do have one, I don't know if you can see it, it's just starting to get a little bit of light scoring. Not big enough to pick up with your nail, but maybe by replacing the lifters I'm going to add some life to this motor. So I've got new lifters. This is what I do. I let them soak for a day or two to fill them up, and then once the new rockers get in, I'll put those on. But that's where I'm at for now. I don't see anything seriously wrong. I still think it's a lifter that's not pumping up. When it's cold, it's not pumping up. When it heats up, it starts to work. But this started right before I went to Sturgis, and then I put 4,700 miles on it in 10 days. So I really took a chance with it, but I don't see anything wrong with it right now. The one thing I did notice is how sloppy the threads are. I mean, this is in there 5 or 6 threads, and I can move it back and forth. So I ordered the stud kit for it. So I should be able to Loctite those studs all the way down, and that should help fix that. And the other thing I noticed, looking at these, I guess you would call them saddles. I don't know if you can see that. They're scoring on the saddle. Not all of them. I mean, that's how it should look. Perfect. That tells me that rocker assembly is moving on the shaft laterally. And it's on the front one, it's doing a little bit, but that one I can't catch it with the nail. The back cylinder I can. So this is the corresponding rocker assembly for that saddle with the bad scoring. I can literally, I don't know if you can see this, I can literally move this shaft up and down. I don't think it should be like that. I think I'm getting lucky catching this right now, and doing this at 23,000 miles is probably going to add a lot of longevity to the motor. Just catching stuff as it's just starting. Even with the S&S rockers, there is excessive end play. So I bought some shims from fueling. This one is shimmed, and it's just sitting on the shaft, but they recommend 4,000. That's exactly what this one is 4,000. So there's still a little bit of movement, but definitely better than that. Alright, the next thing to do is adjust the push rods. So what I do is I jack the bike up, take one spark plug out per cylinder, put it in high gear so you can actually rotate the tire and rotate the crankshaft, rotate the camshaft. And what you want to do is you need your lifters for the cylinder you're working on to be on the base circle of the cam. And it's probably sort of, this is my caveman drawing, but the base circle of the cam is anywhere where you're not going up the ramp of the lobe, the duration of the lobe, or down the lobe. Anywhere else other than where the lobe of the cam is the base circle, and that is the lowest point that the lifter will rotate on. So you can establish that by putting your fingers in there, rotating the tires until you feel both lifters are on the base circle. And once you establish that, that's when you make your adjustments with, installing your push rods and adjusting the push rods. And the first step is zero lash. So zero lash means you're extending the push rod, you're unscrewing the push rod so it lengthens, it fully seats up in the rocker and down in the lifter, and you're taking all the slack out, the slop out, until there is no lash up and down, lateral, whatever you want to call it. Once you get to that point, that's where you start your adjustments. So for S&S lifters and push rods, it would be 4 full turns. So you mark it with a paint pen, and then you use I think it's a 7/16 and a 5/16 wrench, and you would back it out 4 full turns. And once you do that, basically what you've done is you've pushed the plunger into the lifter, so the plunger is sort of in the center of the lifter, and then you lock down the lock nut. I don't use Loctite, I just lock it down with 2 wrenches, and then you have to wait 5, 10, 15 minutes. That lifter is full of oil, so pushing the plunger into the lifter is causing the oil to slowly come out. And once it's fully bled down, you should be able to, when it's locked down at 4 turns, you should be able to spin the push rod with your fingers. Then you know you've adjusted it properly. And then you go on to the next one. And then after that, you would have to get the next cylinder on the base circle, and then you go through the same adjustment procedure. And you got to remember to put a new O-ring inside the tappet block and one up in the head, or you're going to have a miserable day. So now I adjusted it, locked it down, let it bleed out, and now I can rotate it with my fingers so I know it's adjusted properly. If you can't rotate it, then something's wrong. So this is the anatomy of a lifter. This is the plunger that's constantly going back and forth. It sits in the bore. Oil is entering through the hole, and it's being sucked in, pushed out, sucked in, pushed out. So it's drawing oil in, and then when the cam lobe forces the piston all the way down, it's squirting it up to the top of the motor. Lifters are hugely important. Not only do the lifters and push rods open your valves, but it provides the lubrication for the whole top of the motor. I mean, it works in conjunction with the oil pump. So it's hugely important. I think they're overlooked a lot. I don't think people realize how important they are. It's just as important as the oil pump. So throwing a set of lifters in every 20 or 30,000 miles is not a stupid idea, you know? It's purring like a kitten now. So after doing the lifters and the rockers and the shims, I think the problem is fixed. It's running really good right now. I put about 200 miles on it. I'm happy with it. It was a little bit more expensive than I was hoping to spend. I ended up spending about 800 bucks with the rockers, the lifters, and the shims and the gaskets. But it's running much smoother right now. And the only thing I can contribute that to is the roller rockers, which I've never used those before. But I think in the future, just about every bike I've bought, I do the cam chest upgrade. I think it's the best bang for the buck. You can get a lot of horsepower, especially out of the M8s with just the cam change. And if you're going to do a cam, you might as well do the whole thing. The S&S oil pump is far superior to the Harley oil pump. The billet aluminum, you get away from the S&S or the Harley cast oil pumps, where some of that casting has a tendency to flake off. So I think the cam chest is been my #1 upgrade on all of my motorcycles that I've had. But I think from now on I'm going to add the roller rockers to that at the same time, do it all at once. It is a little costly, definitely, but if you do it yourself, if you watch the S&S video on how to do it, that's how I learned how to do it, and the S&S video is terrific. I don't know if they have one out for the M8s, but the one I watched was the twin cam, and the M8s have only gotten simpler because we're back to a single cam design. So that just makes everything easier, quicker. But I think this definitely fixed the problem. I don't know exactly what was worse, the lifter, if it was a collapsed lifter, or if it was the rockers. I can't pin it down to which one it was. I personally thought it was a lifter, but when I saw how sloppy the rockers were, I might as well do those at the same time. So I think that fixes the problem. Give it a shot.